Okay, folks, hello. We're going to start off by starting Cubase. Now, when you go onto a computer, make sure that your UR22 sound interface, that's the bigger of the silver boxes, is turned on. And you'll know that because there'll be a white light with USB lit up. You also need to make sure that your headphone box is also turned on. There'll be a green light on that. Make sure you got your headphones plugged in. Make sure that is plugged in to the other silver box, the UR22, your sound interface. Make sure that your headphone volume is not turned on too loud. You'll know basically about 12 o'clock, if it was a clock, the volume control at 12 o'clock. When you've loaded into Cubase and it loads up properly, there's lots of different tabs here. You need to go into More, Empty, and you need to set a project folder. This is where all your work will be saved, so you must make sure you give it a name. Now I'm going to choose one called Radio Show. More, Empty, create a project folder, Radio Show, press Create. Now at this point it says something about reminding me later. Okay, just press Remind Me Later. Don't worry about that too much. Now we have our Cubase screen here. Now yours might look slightly off center like that. It might look more like that. Okay, and if it does, that's fine. However, we do need to make sure we maximize the window. So you need to maximize it. The reason being is when we maximize it, we can see our zoom controls over here, and they're going to be very important in our radio show. If you don't maximize it, then sometimes you won't actually see them. They'll be off the side of the screen. See there? I've got no zoom controls. Okay, which means I won't be able to zoom in and out, which is a really important thing on this. So maximize your window. You will sometimes have to unmaximize your window to get to certain things, because I've got a very large screen resolution, but you might not see all of these things in your screen, okay, because your screen size might be a little bit smaller. Okay, so it's working at the moment. Cubase is working. You'll see that here is my microphone coming through. You won't have this. Okay, don't fret, but you won't have this because this is my microphone that I've plugged in so you can hear me. What you will possibly have is a little thing at the side here which is kind of takes up a lot of space called racks. If you have got that, just go into the inspector, that little kind of windowed thing there, and just turn racks off. Okay, now I'm using a previous version of Cubase, Cubase 7, so that doesn't have that, but if you've got racks, turn them off. Okay, we don't want them on. Now we are going to upload a song and import a song. Okay, now you go File, Import, Audio File. Okay, I'll do that again. File, Import, Audio File. Now at that point, there's lots of places you can import from. Okay, now you are going to have a specific place in the school server where you'll go and find things, and we'll let you know where those places are. Okay, for me, at the moment, my songs is in my music folder in Radio Show Songs. And there's only one song in there. Okay, you'll have a choice of a few. This is only a practice. This is, again, similar to our voiceover. This is so we can assess how quickly you can pick up these skills. So mine is this track by Carla, who's a British MC, a song called Find No Enemy. So if I want to check that was the right song, I just press play. And I can hear, and it is the correct song. Okay, that's just to check. If it wasn't named, you might want to check it's the correct song before you load it. It is the correct song though, so I just press open. Copy file to working directory. That means that I don't have to, if you had your songs on a USB stick, it would mean that you wouldn't have to plug in your USB stick every single time and all the songs would be saved on there. So this basically saves it to your project, into your folder that you set up a while ago called Radio Show. Okay, so it saves everything into the same folder. Press OK. It loads up the song, and there it is. It might take a while for the image to be constructed, but there it is. Now it's a little bit small, which is why we need our zoom controls. So I'm going to do the vertical zoom. You see there, I'm just pressing on the little plus. Click, 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 click. So I can see it a little bit better. I want to also zoom in horizontally, so I can see the beginning of it a little bit better as well. Okay, and this is the bit I want to edit, so I can talk over it and use it as an intro. Okay, now it fades in itself, so I don't need to worry about fading it in. Okay, now if I listen to the beginning of this, it's fading in. But by this point, it gets a little bit loud for me to talk over. And yeah, it's a bit loud for me to talk over, and I kind of want to edit the volume down. Okay. Now, if I edit the whole volume of the whole track down, okay, this bit here, you see there in the middle of your track, there's a white square. I can drag down on that, and I can make it quieter, but that makes the whole track quieter. And I only want the beginning to be quieter, okay? And there's a way of doing that, okay? Cubase has ways of doing most things. Just put that back up to the correct volume, back up to 0. Ooh, almost. That'll do. Anyway, just zoom in again. Now, I want to create two different bits. I want to chop this in half so I can edit one bit of it, but not the other bit. Okay? And this is where a control called snap, okay, comes in. Now, snap, what snap does is it means anything you try to do to edit anything, it will only allow you to do it at a bar. So 21, 22, 23, 24, all those things. Okay? Which in this case is not what we want, because we're not actually working in bars, we're working in kind of seconds, and we haven't worked out how fast this song is, and we don't really need to, we just want to edit it. So we need to make sure snap is turned off. If we didn't turn snap off, okay, then when we try and cut this in two, it'll cut it at the wrong place, and I'll show you what that looks like. If we hold right mouse button down, it takes into our tools. Now there's the scissors, which can cut things and split them, glue to glue them back together, erase to, well, erase things. Okay, so if I was to go into the scissors and I was then to try and cut there, that's where I want to cut, because if I just play, that's where he starts rapping. Okay, starts MCing at that point. Apparently. So I want to literally have it at full volume at that point, but I want it to be quieter here. But if I try and do this with snap turned on and I click there, it's just cut it. I'll just show you that at that point there at 21. If I try and cut it a little bit earlier, it'll cut it at 20. No matter what I do, it will not let me cut at the place I want to cut. Okay, because snap is turned on. It's snapping that cut to 20 or 21, which is not what I want it to do. Now, to get rid of those cuts, because my song is now in 3 bits, I can either go edit, undo, split. You see one of them disappear, or I can use the glue we talked about to glue it back together. Okay, and then I need to turn off snap. Now, if you don't see snap, it might be because your resolution isn't very good on your computer. Hence, if you don't see it, you need to unmaximize your window. Okay, like so. Get to the bit, snap, turn it off, and then re-maximize your window. Okay, go back into my scissors, and I'm going to now cut, and it cuts exactly where I say now. Okay, what I can then do, just zooming out, I can then, going back to my object selection, okay, because for example, you'll click on it and go, oh, I've just cut it, and that's not what you want to do. Okay, so every time you want to actually select an object, you go back, hold the right mouse button down, object selection, click on it, and you'll see the little white square. I can drag down the volume of that to quieter. So I've now changed the intro volume, and it gets louder. Have a listen. So nice and quiet here, so I can talk over it, and then apparently I'm second generation. Now that is fine, but it doesn't sound particularly professional. Okay, it gets loud straight away. There's no kind of fade in, there's no kind of gradual kind of upping of the volume. Now there is a way of what's called automating by write and read automation, but that's not something we're going to do yet. What we are going to do is I'm just going to quickly zoom in. Now there's an easy way to zoom. It's quite useful. If you go up here where these numbers are and you press and hold left mouse button down and then you drag down, it will zoom to wherever this line is. And you can also move sideways and then zoom in. So I can pull up, zooms out, and I can pull down, zoom in. Okay, which is really quite useful. Okay, because it's a little bit easier than constantly clicking around here on the zoom controls. Okay, what I am going to do at this point, okay, is I want to actually have more of a gradual fade. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Probably zoom out a little touch more. I'm going to actually cut a few more times. There's 4 more times there. Okay, and I've got to get from really quiet to quite loud. So I'm going to make these a little bit louder each time and form my own little fade. So I'm going to click over all these 4. I'm going to make all of them a little bit louder. Then I'll make these 3 a little bit louder again. Whoops a daisy. These 3. See a little white square? Little bit louder. Make the 2 of them a little bit louder. Make this last one again a little bit louder. Now you'll see now it goes from very quiet, gradual. Have a listen to how that sounds a little bit more professional.
Apparently, I'm second.
So the words come as less of a surprise. Okay, less of a surprise. If I zoom out, you can kind of see that as well. You can see that how the line kind of goes up to that point, which is what we want. It's a good line. If I zoom out, that's it. That's all you need to do. Now, this song automatically fades itself in. If it didn't, then if you go to the beginning of an audio track at the top left-hand side, it turns into a black arrow. See that there? And if I therefore click and drag, left click and drag, I can make a fade. See how that makes it quieter? So I could have an additional fade on top. Okay, so maybe I'll put a fade in there. All right, and when you click on that, you can see the fade, and each of these individual ones gets a little bit louder until the main song starts. So I now have formed a fade in. So a nice gradual fade in for my intro of my radio show. I think my radio show will be called Music of the People. And this will be my first song. So probably I'll end up talking after that symbol comes in, that first symbol around here. Chat about my show here, say what's coming up, what's the show is going to be about, who I am, what's my radio station. This is like what you did for your assessment. And yeah, and basically you need to make sure my intro would stop around kind of here, and then it fades in.
Apparently, I'm second gen.
Okay, so that's literally what you need to do. Now that's taken me a few minutes. Okay, it's taken me a few minutes. But it's actually a lot quicker than you imagine if you do all those things in one go. So let's see how long it takes me. File, import, audio file. Find where your music is. Open. Copy file to working directory. Okay. It loads in. That's my track. It's already zoomed in, but you could zoom in additionally if you wanted to. Zoom in to the point. Do some cuts. Okay. Take the volume. This one's a little bit backwards now, so I'm just going to take the volume down of all of these. Like so. You see that I'm forming that little ramp in volume. Like that. And then the last one. And then a fade in. Additional fade in here. Like so. Done. So it shouldn't take you long. Okay, and the more you do this, the better you'll get at it. But there's my nice fade in. There's a fade in there. Nice bit of quiet stuff to talk over. And then it gradually fades in, at which point the emceeing comes at this point. And that's what you need to do today. You choose your intro for the ones that are there, and you need to edit and do that. And we're going to have a look and, yeah, see how you do. Great stuff. Any problems with your computers, put your hands up. But generally, start Cubase, and you can follow this video and, yeah, go through it, and you'll be able to do that too.